Imagine a city so dangerous, so toxic, that even the wind carries death in its breeze. A city once full of families, laughter, and life, now erased from official maps, abandoned to time, and poisoned beyond redemption. This is not a fictional dystopia. This is Wittenoom, Australia. Once hailed as a booming mining town, today it stands as one of the most contaminated places on Earth. Its soil, its rivers, its very air, all laced with microscopic killers. A single breath could spell your doom. But what really happened here? How does a thriving town transform into a ghostly death trap? To answer that, we need to travel back nearly a century, to the heart of a mining dream that turned into a nightmare. In 1943, during the fever of industrial expansion, a large corporation uncovered a strange blue mineral buried deep beneath the rocky wilderness of northern Australia. At first glance, this shimmering stone seemed like a blessing. It was strong, resistant to fire, durable against heat, perfect for construction, insulation, and industry. With the backing of government officials hungry for growth, a mining settlement quickly sprang up. They called it Wittenoom. Families arrived with hope in their hearts. Men came searching for stable work in the mines, while women and children built homes, schools, and businesses nearby. Within just a few years, Wittenoom transformed from barren land into a thriving community. Streets were lined with small shops, children played in the dust, and workers filled the pubs after long shifts. On the surface, it was the picture of prosperity. But beneath the surface, a silent assassin was already at work. The demand for this mysterious blue mineral exploded worldwide. The mine began operating at full speed, producing hundreds of thousands of tons over the years. But alongside the valuable ore came mountains of waste. Enormous piles of leftover rubble, known as tailings, were dumped around the outskirts of the town. And here's where tragedy deepened. Instead of discarding this waste, locals decided to use it. They lined their roads with the blue stones, spread the dust across playgrounds to reduce the heat, built gardens and even furniture with it. To them, it was resourceful, practical, even clever. Nobody questioned whether this sparkling dust might be harmful. They couldn't have known that this mineral, blue asbestos, is the deadliest form of asbestos known to science. To understand why, picture this. Asbestos is made of tiny, needle-like fibers, invisible to the naked eye. When disturbed, these sharp fibers float in the air like glitter. But unlike glitter, when inhaled, they don't leave your body. Instead, they lodge deep inside the lungs, slicing the tissue over and over, causing irreversible damage. Doctors later described it like having shards of glass permanently embedded in your chest. Over years, even decades, this damage leads to horrific diseases: asbestosis, lung cancer, and mesothelioma, an especially aggressive cancer with no cure. And Wittenoom? It wasn't just a town that used asbestos, it was built on it. It was in the air, in the water, in the very walls of people's homes. Every breath, every step, every childhood game in the schoolyard brought the townspeople closer to their fate. Yet early warnings were raised. In 1948, a young paramedic arrived in Wittenoom. Almost immediately, he sensed something was terribly wrong. The mine's dust levels were off the charts. He reported his concerns to health officials, warning that the entire town could face an epidemic of lung disease. But his voice was drowned out by profit. The mine generated too much money, too many jobs, too much political weight to stop. His warnings were ignored. The townspeople, unaware of the ticking time bomb surrounding them, carried on with life as usual. Children played barefoot in asbestos piles. Miners went home covered in blue dust. Wives shook out their husbands' work clothes, unknowingly releasing deadly fibers into their kitchens. The reckoning began in 1960. Doctors diagnosed the town's first case of mesothelioma, a rare and incurable cancer linked almost exclusively to asbestos exposure. The patient was a miner who had worked just 2 years in Wittenoom, yet that was enough. His lungs were scarred beyond repair. His pleura, the thin lining protecting the lungs, was riddled with fibers that could never be removed. Within 5 years, over 100 similar cases appeared. Former miners, their families, even children. The link was undeniable. The beautiful blue stone that built Wittenoom was now killing it. Still, the mine continued operating until 1966, not because of health concerns, but simply because asbestos production began to decline. By the time the government finally urged residents to leave in 1978, the damage was irreversible. Thousands had already developed deadly illnesses. More than 2,000 people had died, and many more faced slow, suffocating deaths. Families were shattered. Survivors described watching entire neighborhoods vanish, not from migration, but from funerals. And yet, the cruelty didn't end with closure. When the mine shut down, the asbestos waste remained. Millions of tons of toxic tailings scattered across the landscape. Even today, more than 3 million tons of asbestos still blanket the valleys and gorges around Wittenoom. The town has been literally wiped from maps, declared uninhabitable, and sealed off. But the poison lingers. Satellite images show eerie blue stains across the barren land. Scientists warn that disturbing even a handful of dust could release enough fibers to kill. Nature itself has turned against the place. Winds carry asbestos particles across the empty streets, embedding death into every rock and every breath of air. In 2006, after decades of denial, Wittenoom was officially erased, closed, condemned, and abandoned. It is now a ghost town, forbidden to visitors. But shockingly, a handful of residents still refuse to leave. To them, Wittenoom was once home, full of memories, love, and life. They cling to it despite the invisible killer that hangs in the air. Wittenoom stands today as a chilling reminder: human ambition, unchecked by caution, can destroy not just land, but lives for generations. Australia's asbestos tragedy has left scars that will never fully heal. Even now, the country's asbestos-related death rate remains among the highest in the world. This is not just the story of a ghost town. It is a story of negligence, of ignored warnings, of profits placed above people. It's a story of how beauty can hide danger, and how entire communities can vanish because of one deadly mistake. So the next time you see an abandoned place, overrun by silence and shadows, ask yourself, what untold story lies beneath its dust? What price was paid to build it? And what tragedy forced it to fall? For Wittenoom, the story is already written. A city, once alive with hope, now silenced by blue dust, forever a ghost on the Australian map. That is the haunting legacy of Wittenoom, a town that inhaled death with every breath and paid the ultimate price.